I know what a lot of you were thinking. You clicked on this video thinking it was going to be about the decision to go for a 4th and 5 up by 3 points in the red zone instead of taking the field goal to make it a 6-point game and force the Bengals to go down the field and get a touchdown. How could you possibly, in that spot, not try and make the Bengals drive down the field and get a touchdown? Take the chip shot field goal, make them get into the end zone, and go from there. Well, it's not. I can't say whether or not I would have done it, because personally, I'm taking the 3 points. So I'm not doing an in defense of episode on this, but I get the logic. I completely get it. If you kick the field goal and make it a 6-point game, yes, Cincinnati needs a touchdown, but they also know exactly what they need. They're likely starting at the 35-yard line, so they need to go 65 yards to get down the field. And they can win the game with a touchdown drive on a day where your defense has looked like crap in the second half. If you go for it and get it, the ball game is over. You're up by 10 points, you're starting the season 2-0 for just the second time since 2007, and there's nothing that the Bengals can do. If you don't get it, the Bengals need to still go about 50 yards to get a field goal, and they might play a bit more conservatively once they get into field goal range, meaning that you're more likely to get another possession because of the new overtime rules. Plus, the play design was great. Brian Thomas Jr. just has to not play like crap, and the Jaguars win this game, and this play is successful. You can't draw it up better than that. I don't think anyone expected BTJ to look like he was afraid of touching a football and afraid of going over the middle on literally every single play. Heck, the analytics even favored going for it in that spot. Not saying I would have done it, but I get it. Liam Coen has proven himself to be a very aggressive coach, as evidenced by the fact that he receives the ball in the first half and his tendency to go for a 4th down in short yardage situations on his own side of the field. This feels like something that he's consistent on and they all have to live and die with, a la Dan Campbell. So this isn't about the 4th and 5. This is about something much, much worse, like legitimately inexcusable. The Jaguars lost this game about 100 times, and this was the moment where I truly knew that the Jaguars had no chance at winning, and this was the same old Jaguars. Behold, it's 3rd and 2. You've got a nice, long drive going. You've been on the field for roughly 5 minutes at this point. You've got the lead, and you're churning clock while running it down the Bengals' throats. You're on the plus side of the field. All you need to do is get 2 yards in these next 2 plays, and you're golden. You can keep the clock moving, you can gas out that defense, and you can come close to icing the game. What's the absolute dumbest possible play that you can think of?
To the air. Lawrence with a pocket. Thomas can't grab it. Incomplete.
Well, that sucks, but Liam Coen's an aggressive coach, and I don't think you're taking a deep shot on 3rd if you're going to punt the ball on 4th. Right? Right?
Hunter, a true weapon.
To the near side, not a deep one, and fair catch called outside the 10-yard line.
Welcome to Dumb Decisions. Before I break down what happened here, this whole series is about taking an in-depth look at decisions made during games that were clearly awful from the start. This isn't something to look bad in hindsight. Rather, this is something to look awful almost immediately. These are moves where your gut instinct tells you right away that there is no way this could possibly work. And sure enough, your gut instinct was smarter than that of an NFL head coach. And for this one, we're taking a look at the mind of Jacksonville Jaguars head coach, Liam Coen. Really not a video I ever wanted to have to make. Was kind of hoping Coen would never make an appearance on this series, but here we are, 2 weeks in. Coen called an absolutely crap game. Like, legitimately crap. With better coaching, the Jaguars win this one. No doubt about it. You had 6 illegal shift penalties in one game, which should not be possible. You had Tyson Campbell on an island covering the best receiver in football in Jamar Chase, which went exactly as you'd expect. You had Trevor Lawrence throwing the ball 42 times, despite the fact that the Jaguars never trailed at any point in the game until 20 seconds left, and despite the fact that the Jaguars were moving the ball at will on the ground, which more on that later. And then You had one of the most baffling and infuriating play calls I've ever seen a Jaguars coach make in one of the most baffling and infuriating games I've ever seen the Jaguars play, considering how many chances they had to win and how many times, like this sequence, that they shot themselves in the foot. So with that being said, let's take a look at why throwing a deep shot on 3rd and short and then punting on the plus side of the field is a really bad idea. And I want to emphasize that things like this are on a case-by-case basis. If you're not having success running the ball, I am more than fine calling this. But let's think about the situation here. You're absolutely destroying the Bengals when it comes to running with the football, which is great because running the ball well churns the clock, which is your friend when you're winning the game. Of your 4 runs on the drive thus far, all 4 of them went for positive yardage, including back-to-back 4-yard gains by Coen, who has been incredible at running back, I must say. In the 4th quarter, your 7 runs all gain yardage, with none of them being stopped at the line of scrimmage. The 7 runs thus far in the quarter were averaging well over 4.1 yards per carry. If we go back to the last 3 drives, your last 10 runs all gain yardage and average 4.8 yards per carry. The last 4 drives, so the entirety of the second half, all 12 runs gain yardage, and you had 57 yards on nearly 4.8 yards per carry. And none of these runs went for more than 10 yards, which is to say that there is no run that is single-handedly inflating the average and making it deceiving. It's not as if you ran the ball 10 times and averaged 5 yards a carry because you had a 50-yard run and then 9 runs that got stopped at the line. This was consistently beating down the Bengals' defensive line, just like it did against the Panthers the week before when he ran for 200 yards on well over 6 yards per carry. And just to emphasize this even further, because man, this is so frustrating. If we go back to the start of the 2nd quarter, you ran the ball 18 times and had 109 yards, averaging over 6 yards per carry. None of those 18 runs lost yardage or got stuffed at the line of scrimmage. In fact, I kid you not, the shortest run all day at that time was 1 yard. Thus far in the game, you ran the ball 23 times, and the worst run of the day went for 1 yard. 23 out of 23 times, you moved closer to the line to gain. Do you know how good you have to be at running the ball to do that? Do you know how good your offensive line is to be in order to make that happen? You were consistently getting yardage on the Bengals. You were regularly opening up holes. And now, you need 2 yards in 2 plays, and you can kill the clock, make it a 2-score game, and make it tough for Jake Browning and the Bengals to mount a comeback. And your grand plan is to throw a deep pass? Your grand plan is to chuck it long? This is like in golf when you've been hitting the fairway all day with your 3-iron off the tee. You haven't bogeyed a hole all day because of your great tee shots. You've got a 2-stroke lead on the final hole, and you decide that now is the best time to bust out the driver. There is no reason for this. You need 2 yards in 2 plays on a day where your worst run in 23 attempts was 1 yard. I know it doesn't work out like this, obviously, but if you just do the math, if you have your worst run of the game and then follow that up with your worst run of the game, you still get a first down. If it ain't broke, why fix it? Especially when the connection to BTJ has not been there all day. If you run the ball, I don't think it's a wild assumption to say that you'll get the first down on one of the 2 plays, especially seeing as after the game, you took time to praise the play of your running backs and your offensive line, especially in the ground game. And if you do get this first down, you're going to have 5.5 minutes left on the clock against a tired Bengals defense to hold the lead. You force the Bengals to potentially take their timeouts with another first down. You get into field goal range for Cam Little, seeing as anything inside a 60-yard kick seems automatic with him. You even have enough real estate in front of you on the field to theoretically hold on to the ball until the end of the game. I'm not saying that's likely, but with the way the drive has been going and with the way you've been moving the ball down the field, it's possible. And you threw that all away and threw away a near surefire thing for whatever the heck that play call was. Not only did you have no negative runs all day, but you didn't have a negative run against Carolina in your 28 attempts there. We're 51 attempts into the season, and you haven't lost yards on a run, with just 2 runs of 0 yards since the second drive of the season. Like, the more you say the stats, and the more you talk it out, and the more you see how good the Jags have been on the ground this season and this game, the more insane it is. You had a winning formula that is perfect for bleeding clock and preserving a lead, and you just decided not to use it. Unless you want me to spontaneously combust on stream, I cannot even begin to describe how dumb it is to make Trevor Lawrence throw 42 times in a game like this and to just completely abandon the run when it got you to that spot, both during the game and on the drive. And when it literally worked to get closer to the line to gain every single time. Again, yardage every single time. This was just appalling. And if I don't wrap this up soon, I'm going to blow my voice out. So all I'll say is this much. This cannot happen again. If your 2 options are 2 plays to get 2 yards by keeping it on the ground on a play that has a 100% success rate on the game and has not lost yards all season, or 1 play to get 2 yards by going 30 yards down the field on a super low percentage play to a guy who's not catching anything right now, you would have to be crazy to choose the latter. But that's what Coen did, and it, along with about a billion other things, cost the Jaguars big time. So what did we learn from all of this? Run the ball, and run the ball. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Don't try to get 30 yards when you only need 2, especially when your ground game has been really good and your quarterback has been a bit iffy at times. The clock is your friend when you have the ball and you're winning late. And if you can continue to milk it, then milk it. If you're ever in a close situation ever again, think of what you did during this catastrophe against the Bengals, and then do the exact opposite. For the sake of my heart, do the exact opposite. Otherwise, I don't know how much I can take of this season. Because when all these elements are in play, you can't exactly be surprised when this play backfires. Talk about a dumb decision. Check out our live streaming schedule for the next few days. We're live every single day on this channel, whether we're covering a sporting event or playing GeoGuessr or just taking your requests. So make sure you like and subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss a single time that we go live and so that you can join this community. Also, thanks to all our members and our Patreon supporters who get exclusive perks like their name at the end of each video, members-only Q&A streams, and cool emojis to use on videos and during streams. See how you can join this community and become a member or a Patreon member by clicking the link in the description below.